Good afternoon. My name is Gina and I am in the Central Florida area. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Gina. We're glad you're here. The call will be starting here momentarily.
All right, again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wise Women Winning. This is our 2022 summit, and our topic for this year is this too shall pass. We got an amazing lineup of speakers today. I don't know about you all, but I am excited to host today and to speak with you all on this beautiful day. So we are officially live on YouTube. And in exactly 15 minutes, we're going to hear from our first speaker, and that's Dr. Goodman. That's our first speaker for today. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you've not had an opportunity to introduce yourself, please do so at this time. Are you able to hear me okay? Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, Vera, we can hear you.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so I see we have our, again, we have our speaker. We have Gina that will be speaking today on minerals. We also have other speakers that will be coming to the platform today. So again, I'm gonna give everyone a chance to come. We're exactly 1:01, and we will start our first speaker at 1:15. So we are officially aired right now on YouTube. We're live now on YouTube. So those people that want to go to the YouTube channel and visit us on YouTube, you're able to do that. We're also will be streamed live on Facebook as well as on other platforms. So again, make sure that you stay muted. And when the speaker is speaking, we will give you an opportunity to ask questions after the speaker is done. I want to give a warm welcome to Dr. Michael Vincent that's on with us today, paying gone in minutes, and we will hear from him briefly.
Yay, Dr. Vincent.
He's one of our top sponsors for this event. So again, we will hear from Dr. Vincent later on. As well, we will have the event tomorrow, the 29th, and we'll be on Clubhouse at exactly 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Clubhouse. Leslie, are you there? And can you hear me okay? Miss Leslie, are you there?
Yes, I am. I can hear you just fine.
You can hear me just fine. So Miss Leslie, if you could embrace us with just some music from Leslie, let us hear from you. Give us what you got. As a matter of fact, you can start off with that, our theme song, I Am Bold, I Am Beautiful. Just sing it how you sing it. And then Leslie, just give us just a couple of songs, whatever God put on your heart. We'd like to hear from you. Go ahead, okay. Leslie, the floor is yours.
All right, I can just start off with the theme song, what we had came up with. So I'll go ahead. I am bold, beautiful, and powerful. I'm a woman who's inspired by God's grace. Take a look at my face. And here's my story. No more pain. No more worrying. No more And so that's what that's all we have right now. But I just wanted to bring that out. No more pain, no more worrying. We go through a lot of things in life. So as wise women are winning, we have to press that issue, press our way through the situation. This is another song. This is just a snippet. Those of you may know this song. It's pretty old. There's something about the name Jesus. Something about the name Jesus. It is the sweetest name I know. Oh, how I love the name Jesus. Oh, how I love the name Jesus. It is the sweetest name I know. Oh, how I love the name Jesus. Oh, how I love the name Jesus. It is the sweetest name I know. Oh, how I love the name Jesus. Oh, how I love the name Jesus. It is the sweetest name I know. Glory to God. Amen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't be afraid to come off of your mics, and let's just show some love to Leslie for that amazing. You know, Leslie, every time you sing, I think the birds come out and just, just kind of stop flying just to see what you're saying. So thank you. And you know what? If you can go down deep, I want you to go all the way down back to grandma, great grandma now. I want you to pull out one of those old hymns. I want you to pull it from your soul, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Leslie.
Come on, Leslie. You got a beautiful voice. Let's hear it. Let it go.
She put me on the spot, y'all.
Thank you,
She put me on the
Leslie.
spot.
Oh my God. Jesus. Yes.
Go ahead and pull it from your.
A living testimony. I want to thank God. I am a living testimony. I want to thank God that I'm still alive. Amen. Amen.
Right. All right. Well, thank you all. And yes, amen, 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 and amen again. First of all, you all, thank you so much for joining us this 2022 Women's Wise Women Winning Summit. And the title and the theme for this year is This Too Shall Pass.
Okay.
I'm going to say it again. This too shall pass.
Amen.
How many of you have ever heard that weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning? And I'm going to pause right there with the joy that will come in the morning, because it's a two-part to the morning. It's the morning that you may have to cry sometimes. And even if you have to cry sometimes, it's okay. Because in the morning, there's joy in the tears. And then the second half of the morning is if you can just hold on till the daylight. Even though it's dark in your area, even though it's dark in your situation, if you can just hold on until the sun shines, just hold on. Again, weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. I'm going to leave you with this one. Be not weary in well doing, for you will reap in due season if you faint not. How many of you all have ever been in this situation and you thought that situation that you were in was the end of it all?
Come on now.
Maybe
Come
the
on.
doctor gave you some bad news. Maybe you went to the doctor and they told you, listen, we've done all we can. Maybe it was a relationship and that brother or that sister had plans that didn't fit into your plans. And you could not throw the towel in because you cannot be weary in your well-doing. But you will reap in due season. Don't faint. So if it's anybody on here today and you trying to catch your breath, just keep on breathing because you will reap in due season. You just can't faint. Now, I know we got a few more calls, people that have come to the call because it's almost time for us to bring our special guest up, our first speaker, which is Dr. Goodman. And it's going to be right on point when we say, be not weary and well doing, for you will reap in due season if you faint not. Again, this is the 2022 Women's Wise Women Winning Summit. This too shall pass. I am your host. I am your MC. And I'm surrounded by some amazing people today. I am Vera Norris, and I am excited to be here. As a matter of fact, this is the day that the Lord has made. I just decided to rejoice and be glad in it. So if you've not had a chance to introduce yourselves, please come off of your mic today. Let us know that you're here. Tell us your city, your state, or even your country. If you've not had a chance to introduce yourself, please come off of mute so that you can do that.
Mary Ann Adams, Houston, Texas.
All right, Mary Ann, thank you from Houston, Texas for joining us. Is there anyone else that has not had an opportunity to introduce yourselves? Please do so at this moment.
Jennifer Patton, Cleveland, Ohio. Hello.
Welcome, Cleveland. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm Leslie Brown, Iowa.
All right, Leslie, with that beautiful voice. Thank you. Glad to have you, my sister.
Thank
there
you
anyone
for
else?
having me.
Yes, yes, yes. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else that hasn't had a chance to introduce themselves? Okay. So Leslie, we have exactly 2 minutes. If you will please give us another hymn in those 2 minutes.
Okay. Let me see. You were just saying, oh geez. Okay, my favorite. Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? And why should my heart feel lonely and longs for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is he. His eyes is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy. And I sing because I'm free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. Amen. 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 Oh, glory. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father.
We're going to take a moment to just breathe on that.
Oh,
Because with the next speaker that we have coming to the stage today, someone whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I know that the message that she has is going to help some folks. It's going to help some folks. It's going to bring some folks out of some dark places.
Oh, glory.
And I know that she was chosen for such a day, for such a time as this. I want to again thank Dr. Michael Vincent. You're going to hear from him throughout this summit. If you don't know Dr. Michael Vincent, I will encourage you to get to know Dr. Michael Vincent. But at this moment, I want to turn the mic over to Dr. Goodman. Dr. Goodman, are you there? CJ Goodman, are you there, please?
I am here, and I am grateful, and I know God is here. Thank you, Leslie, for ushering his presence into us. I praise you, Father. Thank you. Okay, so I want to thank Vera first for the opportunity to speak, and I want to thank Dr. Michael Vincent for the opportunity where he invited me to learn from him. I will come full circle and share with you all how I got to be in this wonderful, amazing place, and how I got to be lined up with this wonderful man and this wonderful woman, Vera, and this opportunity. I'm going to share with you as quickly as I can why you should never fear cancer again, and why you should never fear any type of pain or chronic disease again. The things that I've got, I'm going to run through these quickly, but we're going to let God take over. We're going to take Yah to let us be taken to our next place. Now, introducing myself, I am CJ Goodman, MD. I'm a licensed physician. I've been practicing medicine since 1992. I went to undergraduate school at Cornell University. My medical school was University of Medicine and Dentistry in New Jersey. And my residency was done in the South Bronx at Bronx Lebanon Hospital Center. I had an older sister in Christ who was a certified nurse midwife, who had me come train at her hospital so that I could learn midwifery at the same time that I was learning obstetrics and gynecology. We had the same patient population, women before, during, and after pregnancy. But what I noticed was that her patients consistently got better faster than mine. And that made me angry because, as I said, I am Ivy League educated, and they teach us that we're the best of the best of the best. So my hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on my education should well surpass her few dollars that were spent and the mud and spit that she was using to heal people. But her mud and spit was working, y'all. And it got to a point where I had to sit down and say, sis, what kind of mud are you actually using? And how much spit do I need to add to that in order to make the thing work for me too? So I started paying closer attention to what she was doing and increased those things in my patient population. And I found that our patients were running neck and neck. Complications went down. Deliveries were C-section free. And she blew my mind when she started reversing things like cervical cancer using vitamins and garlic in a sock. But I paid attention to what she told me to do. I did what she said to do, and I watched everything be well in the world. She went on to become a naturopathic doctor. I moved to New Mexico and went into solo practice. We stayed in contact with one another, sharing things from the holistic world from her to me, and from the conventional world from me to her. And everything stayed on par. Now, fast forward again, 1998, I found some lumps in my breast. And when I had to go for my biopsy, I found myself in a crisis of conscience, because what I had seen in my practice over the preceding years was there was an increase in women that were coming in with breast cysts, breast tumors, breast cancers. There was an increase in fibroids that were coming through, uterine fibroids, uterine cancers, ovarian cysts, and masses that were coming through. Back in the 80s, the proportion of women that had uterine fibroids used to be just 10%. Now, if you look at the trend, we're about 80, 90% of all women have uterine fibroids. I was looking to see, well, what happened? And even when I talked to my colleagues that take care of men, they were saying that the men were having the same thing. Whereas it used to be only the 90-year-old men that would get prostate cancer and die from it, it started moving down. So we had the 60s, the 50s, and even 20-year-old men that were coming in with testicular cancers, penile cancers, prostate enlargement, things that we had never seen before. And what I did was I stepped back to look what's happened since the 80s or around that time that caused there to be this trend, not only in my patients, but also in myself. And the thing that I saw was that around 70s or 80s is when they started telling the farmers, stop rotating your crops. They didn't allow them to do the practices that Yah Almighty had said. You rotate the crops in the 7th year, you let it just sit and grow naturally and rebuild itself. And then the other thing that I saw was they started adding steroids and fertility hormones to the meats. So to the cows, the pigs, the chickens, they started adding growth hormones and fertility hormones to cause them to grow bigger, fatter, faster so that they could make more money on the market and make more babies. And they didn't realize that when they put those fertility hormones into the meats that we were going to eat, if your brother eats that and he's a full-grown man, he's already grown all of his reproductive system, and he takes fertility hormones in an undisclosed amount in a burger that he bought from a fast food joint, it's going to cause his reproductive organs to grow, but they're not going to grow normally, nor are they going to grow naturally. So that's why we started seeing that trend, the uptrend of benign prostatic hypertrophy and problems with the prostates getting larger. And the same thing in our sisters. When they start eating these chickens, if you look back to the 80s, when Church's Chicken would serve you a piece of chicken, it looked like a piece of chicken. Now it looks like a giant pterodactyl. The thing is huge. And that's because of the hormones that they're putting in it. Now, if you're a full-grown woman, you've got your 2 breasts, you've got your 1 uterus, you've got your 2 ovaries, and you take fertility hormones, it's going to cause those things to still grow. But again, it's not going to grow normally. What's going to happen is you're going to start getting cysts, you're going to start getting tumors, you're going to start getting cancers, you'll start getting fibroids. So that was a second thing that was causing the trends to go up in males and the females' reproductive systems. The third thing that I saw was microwaves got introduced around that time. Now, all of us who are here have had the history courses, and we know that the United States dropped some radiation bombs on Japan years ago, decades ago. They don't want us to connect the dots, but I'm here to connect dots today. And this is what Yah did for me when he connected the dots. He said, when they dropped this radiation bomb on the people in Japan, 2 things happened. 1, either they died immediately, or 2, if they survived, they got cancer, because radiation causes cancer. Now, what they didn't want you to think about is when you take that little box and you put your food in it, it's radiating your food. It is changing the DNA and mutating it. That's why when you heat things up, you have to eat them real quick, otherwise they get hard like plastic. It's because you've changed the DNA, you've actually mutated, and you are what you eat. So if you're eating mutated, irradiated food, that's what your body is going to start to reproduce. So the microwaves was another thing that was going along with these trends. The last thing that I saw was bottled waters were introduced around that time as well. The plastics in those bottles leach into the water, on top of the water being acidic. And the acidity in the water actually causes that plastic, when it's a hot bottle that's made, it causes the plastic to get into the water. Now, that would not be a problem if we just drank the plastic and it went straight through us, but it doesn't. The plastic from those bottles act like an estrogen, a fertility hormone. So when we're drinking that water from these bottled water companies, it's going straight to the reproductive organs and causing breast lumps, breast cysts, breast tumors, uterine fibroids, cancers, things like that. Now, the other piece that came along with that, I saw a number of ladies that were coming to me because I'm trained as an OBGYN that had cell phones or pagers. And the women that kept their things clipped on their belts on the left-hand side, well, the uterine fibroids were on the left-hand side. The ones that kept it clipped on the right, that's where the ovarian cyst was. The mass that I found in my breast was on the left side, and I used to keep my cell phone and my pager in my left front breast pocket. So tell you a little bit about my history. My people are from the South, Sumter, South Carolina, and Fort Pierce, Florida. Our normal diet was things that you would chase, catch, kill, deep fry, and then eat. So everything that I'm about to tell you that I changed is because I thought at the time that I was coming up that if they sold it in a store, it was safe to eat. It was okay. I had no idea that the things that you were buying in the grocery store or the waters that you were purchasing could actually hurt and kill you. But that's what we're going to learn about today. We're going to connect these dots and be in a place where your eyes are open so that you're able to protect yourself and your family going forward. Now, coming back to the table, when I found the lumps in my breast, I went for my biopsy. And while I laid on the operating room table, naked, scared, alone, and cold, surrounded by 8 people that I didn't know who were about to cut a piece of my breast off, I started to cry. And I threw a prayer up to God that went something like this. Lord, I need you to show me naturally what I need to do to reverse this, because when I leave here, I'm never coming back again. I don't care what they find. I don't see anywhere in the Bible where people had to get body parts cut out. And I know that Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach, took all my sickness and disease away on the cross. So this is not my portion. But if I leave here and God forbid develop a lump and it's cancerous, I would rather die with breast cancer than come back and let somebody cut another piece of my body off. But I'll tell everybody that you're my God and you're the one that wanted it to happen that way if that does so happen. Amen. Now, as you see, I am here, so that didn't happen. What happened instead was he answered my prayer. And that day, I started meeting healers, homeopaths, natural foodists, raw foodists, people that taught me how to create an environment inside the human body in which cancer cells can't grow. They took me back to a science that we've all learned as we came through elementary school, biochemistry, and they took me back to the pH chart. This is it here. Most of us are familiar with the fact that 0 or the acid, we know what acids are. And we're aware that if we throw somebody into a vat of acid, you're going to burn up and die. The pH scale goes from 0 to 14. This is acid down here. 14 is alkaline. We're not as familiar with this end. This end is where you get your alkaline, like your bleaches, your ammonia, your lye, things like that. If I throw you into a vat of strong alkaline, you'll burn up and die as well. 7 is neutral. That's what rainwater used to be, and that's what tears generally are, which is why when you get it on your skin, it doesn't burn you. The human, when we're born, is born with a pH of 7.35 to 7.45 in most of our tissues and such. And even the bag of waters that a pregnant mom carries that baby around in has a pH of 8 to 10. Why does that matter? Because all of the healers that I studied with, the ones that I followed after, the ones that I learned about, have taught me that there's no disease that can exist and thrive in a properly pH balanced alkaline environment. All diseases known to mankind have been found thriving and existing in an acidic environment. How do we get from being born here at this point and come down to the acidic? Well, it's the foods that we eat. As I just mentioned, the things that they put in the foods that we eat, the preservatives, the colors, the genetically modified things. Heck, even your thoughts, stresses, fears, those things can acidify you. Soda has a pH of 2.5. So the things that we're drinking, including those nice bottled waters that are all acidic, they'll bring you down into the acidic range. And then what disease you happen to get just happens to be your flavor of the day. Now, I've listed some of the most common ones: high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, breast, uterus, prostate masses, arthritis, gout, obesity, bacteria, viruses, yeast, parasites, and death. You cannot get these things unless your body is acidic. Now, moving on, they told me that I needed to eat primarily alkaline foods. So I started doing everything that they told me to do, because remember, this was my faith walk. It was either God was going to heal me or I'd be out on this faith walk and die with whatever thing came. So I did everything that these healers told me to do. I went vegetarian for 4 years. I started eating salads as my main thing. I was taking wheatgrass, spirulina, anything that was green, that was alkaline. I was taking those things. If you had on a green shirt, I was chasing after you so I could sit next to you and get that green near me. I did everything that they told me to do. But the lumps never went away. They just stayed pretty much on autopilot, and nothing had to get biopsied. The problem was these brilliant healers were having a complaint about what type of water to drink. So there were some that said tap water is the best, it's free, government gives it to you, and they wouldn't give you anything that wasn't good for you. Flint, Michigan can tell you differently. The others would say bottled waters are better because they're more purified, but we found out in doing research that 75% of bottled waters are just tap water in a bottle. Plus, we just talked about the plastics that are in there and Dasani, not to name all of them, but Dasani in particular, rinses the inside of their bottles with a chemical called bromate that causes cancer. And it has been banned in the UK and kicked out twice. When it gets kicked out from them, they send it back to us at Walmart on sale. So didn't want to mess with those because of those plastics. And I was dealing with something that I found out was called fibrocystic breast disease. It's a big word that just means you got a bunch of cysts. Some are tumors, some are solid, most are benign, but every month you have to check when your period is coming to see if with the PMS and the breast swelling, does that lump go back down again? So every month there's anxiety because you're checking to see did that go down. And see, I had 5 on one side and 12 on the other. So I'm checking 17. And every month it's a stress and then a calm, a stress and then a calm. It's a terrible way to live, but I did it because nothing ever had to get biopsied. Now, the last type of water that we're talking about, distilled and reverse osmosis, the healers told me that's the most pure. They take out all the toxins, they take out all the poisons, but they also take out all the minerals. And the Japanese call that dead water because you have to have minerals in the water in order for it to be able to hold a charge or for it to be able to alkalize your body. When you take all the minerals out, you're left with acidic water. And remember, I said acid is going to allow you to get any and every type of disease. So I prayed again and I asked Yah, I said, what's this with the water? What am I supposed to drink? And someone sent me an invitation to a presentation that was called It's All About the Water. And at that presentation, they introduced me to something called Kangen water, Kangen water. It is water that is sourced from a machine that's made out of Japan, because they, of all the people that should be leading the people in cancer, are not. They are considered a blue zone. They are living to and beyond 100 with all of their mental faculties, their strength. So they obviously found something to counter those radiation bombs that we dropped on them. Now, what they did was they started researching throughout the world because there are certain places throughout the world where Yah Almighty put a mountain glacier that has ice on the top. It melts down, picks up the volcanic ashes. So now it's got the minerals, smacks around on the rocks, gets hit by lightning strike and splits. So now it's electric charged water. The same way that if lightning hits a tree, it'll split. When lightning hits water, it splits. So you're no longer drinking H2O that is neutral charged, and you can hear it sloshing around in your stomach because it's not getting absorbed. You're drinking negatively charged OH minus and H plus or H2, dissolved hydrogen, dissolved oxygen. That's 1/5 the size of a molecule of water with a negative charge on it. Why do you need to drink charged water? Because we are electric beings. How do you know this? Let's connect some more dots. They're doing an EKG. They can tell you if that's a heart attack. They can tell you if it's beating too fast, too slow, needs a pacemaker. You do an EEG for the brain, electroencephalogram, to see is that a seizure? Is someone sleeping? Are they dreaming? Is it brain dead? You do an EMG, electromyogram, to check the muscles. Are they still functioning? Are they still getting their electrical charge, or is it atrophied and dead and we need to add some electricity to it? They don't want us to connect the dots to recognize we need electric charged food and electric charged water. So when we're drinking this electric charged water, it's going throughout all 70 trillion cells and getting absorbed in less than 60 seconds, giving you dissolved oxygen and dissolved hydrogen for your body to heal itself. And I'm going to share with you something that I'm sure the majority of the people have never heard before. In 1931, a man named Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize for discovering the cause of cancer. And I'll say that again. In 1931, a medical doctor from Germany named Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize for discovering the cause of cancer. Now, you should have 2 questions on your mind. One should be, did she just say somebody discovered the cause of cancer 91 years ago? And the second question should be, how come we didn't get the memo? My third question was, what are they doing with all the research money if someone won a Nobel Prize 91 years ago for discovering the cause of cancer? That's a conversation for another day. But what Otto Warburg discovered and won the Nobel Prize for was that cancer is caused by acidic pH and low oxygen content in your body. When he took a cancer cell and put it in a high oxygen alkaline environment, it died spontaneously in 4 days. There was no chemo, no radiation, no surgery that was required. Now, around the world, the other people who participate in the Nobel Prize, they had to verify his work, right? So they couldn't just give him the prize, which means that all of the countries, all of the continents that participate in the Nobel Prize knew 91 years ago that all you have to do is alkalize and oxygenate a human and cancer goes away. But they chose not to share that information with us. We're giving it to you today so that you know that you have the ability to heal yourself. Now, getting back to what happened at that demonstration, the fellow that did the presentation showed me how the Kangen water had a negative charge to it, which made it an antioxidant, made it oxygenated, made it able to be absorbed into your cells, and made it alkaline, because this unit that the Japanese went to these different places, and you can check it out, you can Google like the Hunsas of the Himalayas. They live at the foot of the Himalaya mountains. They drink this glacial milk that comes down, has an electric charge on it. They're living to 120, 130 years old, and those men are still getting their wives pregnant after 100 years old. No cancer, no sickness or disease in that population. The Japanese studied that water. They learned how to make a device that could sit on your counter to make that water. And they take your tap water, they clear out all of the toxins, the chlorine, the fluoride, the pharmaceutical drugs that are in the water now, because they started mixing our toilet water with our drinking water as well. And then they leave the minerals in. And then they take it through an electrolysis chamber that hits it with the electricity from your house. That's like a lightning strike. So you're drinking dissolved oxygen and dissolved hydrogen. Now, our bodies are 75 to 85% water. So the fastest way for you to get your body to a place where it's oxygen rich and alkaline would be for you to drink alkalized, ionized, antioxidant water, 75% of your body weight in water in ounces. I learned the majority of these things at that presentation that I went to. That gentleman gave me some samples for me to take home and for me to drink. And the first night that I drank it, I woke up feeling a little bit congested, didn't think of anything of it because I'd never drank water and had a response before. The second night, I woke up choking on my own phlegm. And the only thing I had done differently was to drink that water. And the first thing that came to my mind was, oh my gosh, my mother taught me better than this. I know I'm not supposed to be drinking water or anything from any strange men. What have I done? Second thing, prayer. God, what do I need to do that I don't die from this thing? And I remembered that I had distilled water in my kitchen. So I literally crawled into my kitchen because I did not have the strength or the breath to stand up. Sat on my kitchen floor and started sipping the distilled water. Yes, it's acidic, but guess what? I could breathe while I was drinking it. So as I started sipping this water, I started feeling and hearing this thick mucus come up, and I was able to take some shallow breaths. Then I got angry again because I said, that man gave me something to kill me in my sleep. I'm gonna cuss him out. I'm gonna cuss that man out in the morning. As soon as I can figure out what I can say and still stay sane, I'm gonna cuss that man out. And I kept drinking my water and I kept having mucus get looser. And then I started coughing this stuff up and it tasted like tobacco. Now, the wild thing about that is I had quit smoking heavily 10 years prior. So Cornell, medical school, and everybody else beyond that had taught us that once you quit smoking, your lungs are supposed to repair themselves, your fingertips repair themselves, your taste, your smell, everything comes back. So why 10 years later am I able to taste nicotine and tobacco? Somebody lied to me. That's why. In the morning, instead of calling that man and cussing him out, I asked him, where do I get one of these things? I started drinking that water myself and I found out he just gave me too high a pH to drink. He gave me the highest one, which was 9.5. He should have started me on 8.5 and let me work my way up. Now, God was gracious enough to allow me to recognize what he did in that 10th year because I caught a news flash of Peter Jennings who died in the year that I found Kangen water. And the newscast said specifically, Peter Jennings just died of lung cancer. He had smoked heavily 10 years prior. So in his 10th year, he got lung cancer. In my 10th year, I found this Kangen alkaline ionized water. I had already been lecturing across the country to share with people what you can do to change your diet, to change your water. And a woman came up to me that had malignant breast cancer that said, I don't want to go back for radiation. I want you to detox and alkalize me and let's do this thing naturally. So I put her on what I had boiled down to a 4-step detox program, increased her Kangen water so that she was drinking 75% of her body weight in water in ounces. And in 4 months, she called me and told me the breast cancer was gone. And I was so grateful. I was running around my house saying, thank you, God, I'm so grateful, thank you, thank you. And I heard very clearly, check your own breast. all 17 of my lumps were gone as well. That's when I said, ooh, I'm gonna tell everybody, y'all gonna know, you shouldn't have let me know this, because I realized that it's not only your food, but also your water that you can do in your home by yourself, away from the doctors who want to cut, poison, and burn. You can change the pH, you can change the body, and you can get yourself well. So I started going and sharing this information. Word got out through her. She started sending people to me, and my practice changed from primarily OBGYN to primarily stage 3, stage 4, and hospice cancer reversal. And by God's grace, we have a 100% success rate in reversing any type of cancer that comes through the door at any stage, as long as that person is willing to detox body, soul, and spirit. Now, the reason why I tell you body, soul, and spirit is because every organ holds an emotion. And I put together the 4-step detox program in this book called Damn Disease. DAM stands for Detox, Alkalize, Mentally Empower, and Nourish Disease out of your body. It tells you how to do that 4-step program that we did that is 100% successful. This book is 25 years of education, $25,000 worth of experience and things that you can do for yourself at pennies, and it costs less than $25 on Amazon. Now, the Mentally Empower is the piece I just want to share with you, and then I'm going to jump to the next thing really quickly. We're not taught in medical school that your emotions can make you sick. But as I was on my journey and learning, I found that every organ holds an emotion. Your liver holds anger. So people who have liver problems, cirrhosis, cancer of the liver, they're people that are angry and not expressing like they need to. The pancreas holds excess sympathy for others or loss of sweetness for life. And it manifests in the blood sugar going crazy, like diabetes. Your heart holds joy. So people that have heart issues, there's a joy problem. The breasts, ladies, hold nurturing other people who don't deserve it or who don't return it. Now, when I learned about that on my journey, just like I'm expecting for you all, there are names of people that started popping up in my head that I knew this is one, if that's one, that's, but see, you teach people how to treat you. And the unfortunate thing is that as women of color, or just women, period, in this world, we're taught to take everything, every abuse, every step on my back to get where you need to be, and just be Christian and say yes and I forgive you. But when your body, which is made in the image and likeness of God and does not lie, recognizes that you have emotions that are not being properly dealt with, it is going to make some kind of ailment to let you know you need to look at this thing. So the breast lumps that I had were telling me I had too many people that I was allowing to walk on my back, and I needed to let them go. I did that, and the lumps went away. I started sharing this with people, and folks got well. My calling is to erase cancer worldwide, which is why I put it in this book, so that God willing, you all will purchase this, read through this, do the things in there, and then be able to fire your oncologist, because they're trying to make us think that a cancer rate of 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 is normal. It is not. But we have the power to change those things. Now, I did those things with a lifestyle change. And I prayed again and I said, Lord, what about those people who come who don't necessarily want to do the full lifestyle change, or they can't come to me and do those things? Yes, we have this book, but I wanted something else, because in 2009, something strange started happening to my body again. I started gaining weight. My periods got heavier. A mass started growing in my belly. Holding onto my cell phone would cause pain that radiated up my arm. I started having insomnia, couldn't go to sleep for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. And things were just not right in my system. What I found out was Georgia Power had put a smart meter on the back of my house without my knowledge. And the Georgia Power transformer in the front of my house was leaking radiation. So I was actually being microwaved by electromagnetic frequencies. And it took me several years to get my body back to a place where it was healing and I was okay, because I had someone come in, take the EMF down. But at that same time, I started praying and asking God, well, what do I do with this 5G that's about to come? What about the patients that don't have someone that can rebuild or protect themselves from the home? And what about this heavy period thing that I had learned about back in the 90s? They called it flooding. And I said, that'll never catch on. That's so stupid. That's probably just the people trying to make you buy more sanitary napkins. But the thing that happened that, again, I'll connect some dots for you, that we were not aware of is not only does EMF, electromagnetic frequency, cause abnormalities to grow in your uterus and can cause fibroids. If you sleep under a ceiling fan and your bed is up against a wall, the electricity, they call dirty electricity, that's coming through your bed coils is electrocuting you all night and causing your cells in your reproductive system to grow. So that's why we get a lot of people that have uterine fibroids, the men's having prostate issues. And then what compounds that? If you have a ceiling fan, above your bed, it's creating a vortex of EMF that's coming down and creating a circuit with you in the middle, your coils from your mattress underneath, and then going straight to your wall. It's a nice little electricity circuit that can cause fibroids to grow and your reproductive systems to be damaged. That's also why a lot of people have heart attacks at night. That's why you get SID, sudden infant death syndrome. So one quick, easy thing you can do, ladies, take the ceiling fan down. Even when it's on, it's still circulating. It's still giving that circuit. If it's over your bed, take it down because it is causing you to be electrocuted through the night and contributes to uterine fibroids. Also, pull your bed off the wall at least 12 inches so that you're not directly getting the electricity from your wall into the coils and it's electrocuting you all night. Those two things alone will allow you to sleep better and let your body be in a better place. In my prayer, when I asked God, what do we do? He told me to look in my kitchen because I had something that someone had given me a few weeks prior that's called Hemohim. They had given me a little sample box of this. This is radiation protective. The fellow gave it to me and I just let it sit in my house for 3 weeks until I prayed again. And when I did research about this thing, I found that the Korean Atomic Energy Research Institute in Korea were studying gamma radiation, and they found that their scientists kept getting cancer and dying. So they shut the program down. They reassigned the scientists to find something local that grew in abundance that could save their lives of the best and brightest, but also protect the ones who were coming through. They found these 3 plants that grow wild and grow in abundance. Each one of them has its own anti-cancer, antivirus, antifungal, antibacterial, antioxidant profile, so much so that you can go onto PubMed and you can look each one of them up and you will see that there are clinical studies on them, which is rare because usually if you can't patent it and you can't patent a plant, PubMed won't bother to do a study. But each one of these was so magnificent in reversing high blood pressure, diabetes, gout, osteoarthritis, congestion of the heart, all kinds of things. They have those studies on PubMed. But what the Korean government found out is when you put these 3 plants together, they work synergistically to learn your body. And they go wherever there's damage or diseased tissue, and they cause your body to repair, replace, or restore by making new red blood cells and new white blood cells. The people in Korea gave it to the government first for the first 5-6 years to the royals, and then they released it to us about 6 years ago. And the folks who had advanced cancer started taking these products and said, what if we increase it? So instead of us taking just the 2 packs per day that are suggested along with the 4 core supporting products, they took 6. And they found that 6 was a sweet spot. It didn't matter what type, it didn't matter what stage of cancer the person had. When they took 6 of these, along with the 4 core supporting products, the Alaska 3 omegas, the vitamin C, their milk thistle, and the probiotics, the time from starting the 6 packs of the Hemohim to the time of cancer-free averaged 1.5 months to 6 months. So this is something that I started because not that I'm dealing with gamma radiation, but I am dealing with patients that we want to make sure that they are able to get these products and take care of themselves at home. This is not just for cancer, but this does say reverse cancer and chronic diseases now. The testimonials of people that are taking this Hemohim range anywhere from erectile dysfunction reversed in less than 7 days, anemia gone, congestive heart failure, which there's not supposed to be a cure for, gone, uterine fibroids gone. This product and the company that makes it, they have herbs in all of their daily use products. So they have everything from the Hemohim to propolis and green tea toothpaste, that when you brush your teeth, they have found over studies that when there's bacteria that's in your mouth it travels on meridians and can go to different places. Like if that tooth is associated with that breast, that's the cause of the breast cancer. When you get rid of the bacteria in the mouth, the breast cancer spontaneously goes away. So these people, Atomy, have made toothpaste. They've got gold ionic dipped toothbrushes. They've got laundry detergent that has pine needle extract in it, which is an antidote to coronavirus and to the jab. They've got dishwashing liquid that has at least 9 different plants in it that have vitamin C in it. So while you're washing your hands, you're absorbing vitamin C, your immune system is being boosted. While you're using the clothing detergent, the clothes that you're wearing, you're absorbing the herbs that are helping your body to not make cancer. Skin tags just fall off because of the clothes that you're wearing. So this was something that was absolutely wonderful because, again, no, we're not dealing with gamma radiation, but if you have a cell phone, if you have a router, all of us are on computers now, you need radiation protection. This is something that we definitely need. And then for the women with the fibroids and the flooding, they make a sanitary napkin that has at least 3 different herbs in it. Those herbs, when it's on your skin and your body is absorbing it versus absorbing the dollar store stuff that you're getting that actually has chemicals in it to make you bleed more. And the chlorine in the tampons and in the pad make you bleed more because they kill your good bacteria off. These pads with the herbs, when you absorb it, kills the smell, decreases the cramping, shortens the period, decreases clots. So these are the things that I'm sharing with people now. And then this last thing I'll say, and then I'll be quiet because I know I'm at the end of my time here. Forgive me. I see you.
That's okay. I see. We're going to get you 30. If you can wrap it up in 30 seconds, please.
30 seconds. Your good bacteria is what is necessary in order to close the holes that are in your GI tract. This is a product that closes the holes. We can have the most magnificent of products, but if there are holes, your food, your good food is getting out into your bloodstream and causing autoimmune disease. This is a product called Next that helps to seal up the holes so that you can keep your good things in. I'm going to show you really quickly some photos before and after so that you can see this is not just me talking to you, but we've got some things that we've done that are miraculous. This is a woman who had a breast cancer that was the size of a cauliflower. This cauliflower was hanging off the left side of her breast. And for orientation, her neck is up behind this blue sheet here. Her left arm is here and her torso is coming down here. This used to be hard and solid that you could knock on it. This next one is the side view. I could stick my entire hand in that hole in her breast. This is what came out of that breast. The surgeon that we sent her to never had to cut. He just scooped it out with his bare hands and filled up a bucket with this tumor. This is her after the surgery. They let it close on its own because she had good, healthy tissue after she was doing the things in my book, Damn Disease, and allowed her body to close that hole up on its own. And this woman still has her breast today. So recognize we have the ability to do magnificent things. Now, this took 2.5 weeks for her to drop that thing off. I'm always asking God, what's the faster, what's the better? I met a man that's on this call named Dr. Vincent, because I was asking God, yes, I can do this in 2-3 weeks, months. I want to be able to do it in seconds and minutes like Christ did. I stumbled across a phone call with Dr. Michael Vincent where he was saying how someone with 12 years of a frozen shoulder, he freed in 3 minutes. And that's what he teaches. So I asked him, where are you? When can I meet you? When can I train with you? I need to learn how to do what you're doing. This man has a code that he's downloading from God on a regular basis that teaches us how to be able to reverse all pain, diabetic neuropathy, classes that we're going to start teaching for $1.44 per person because we want to make sure that this information gets out. There shall be no more fear from cancer because we have the information of what you need to do it. God made leaves for the healing of the nations. All we have to do is make sure that we're taking those healing things in and learning the codes to be able to do it as quickly as Christ did and faster, because Christ said, we'll do greater works than him. And with that, I thank you, Vera, and Wise Women for the opportunity to be here with you. The last thing I'll say is, ladies, if you've got an underwire bra, take those underwires out because they are associated with increasing breast cancer. You don't have to throw the bra out, but just get that wire out of there. It lets the good blood go in, but it doesn't let the bad blood get out. So please, if you've got an underwire bra, take that thing out. And with that, I'll say thank you so much. Listen to domimedia.org, DOMIMEDIA.org. It's a radio station that will remind you that you are powerful enough to never get sick again as you follow our Father in everything that he has done in love. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Wow. You know what? I purposely allowed you to go way over because you was dropping so many nuggets that I thought every bird that needed to eat, it was enough. It kind of reminded me of that story in the Bible where the guy came with two fish and 5 barley loaves and didn't think that he had enough to feed everyone, but fed the multitude and even had enough left for leftovers. And that's what you gave us today. If you could please repeat the name of the book again for those that's listening.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is Damn Disease. And it stands for Detox, Alkalize, Mentally Empower, and Nourish Disease Out of Your Body. You can find it at damndizease.com, DAMNDIZEAZE, is 2 Z's. And yes, I will put it in the chat. I will do that. This was the first book to reverse and prevent cancer. Those pictures that I just showed you, they're in the back of this book so that you can see the befores and afters. And this is written 14-year-old level. So this is not something that you can't do. It's something very, very simple. And I did this while I worked full time and was still able to do everything. So please know it's doable. Damn Disease 2.0 was the second book that I did because when I was updating the links in this, I heard noise about coronavirus and Yah said, write one that's 4-step detox and prevention for coronavirus. So HemoHim is featured in Damn Disease 2.0. We give this to our first responders because the name, if I can take just 1 minute, the name HemoHim tells you what it does. Hemo stands for hemoglobin. It brings your blood count up. So anybody who has an issue with anemia, from the first package you take the first day, it's going to bring your blood count up. By the time that you get to day 7, your points are usually at least 3 higher, which is rare because everything that we've got in the conventional world takes 30 days before you see 1 point increase. This works in 7 days. The H in HemoHim stands for hematopoiesis, which means wherever your body makes blood, your bone marrow, your spleen, your liver, it goes to that place, turns that center on, turns it up, and gives you quality cells. The I stands for immune. So it goes to your white blood cells, and specifically your natural killer cells, which have one job and one job only. That's to find and kill cancer and abnormal cells. And then the M stands for modulation. So if your white blood cell count is too low because of cancer or infection, it will bring it up. If it's too high because of autoimmune like multiple sclerosis or arthritis, it will bring it down. So HemoHim does exactly what your body needs. It's made in this second book, and the first responders that are knee deep in coronavirus patients, they never get coronavirus. If they do, they get a sniffle for 6 hours and it's gone. And then Damn Disease 2.0 Plus tells you how to use ozone, which in seconds kills any cancer and suffocates all viruses on contact. Thank you again so much for your opportunity.
No worries. As a matter of fact, thank you again, Dr. Goodman. I cannot wait to hear you tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We will be on Clubhouse at exactly 1 Central Standard Time. For those of you all that's listening on YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms, you make sure that you follow and connect with Wise Women Winning. You can find us on every platform, Wise Women Winning. Again, Dr. Goodman, it is truly an honor and a privilege to have you with us today. I want to give a warm shout out to Dr. Michael Vincent.
Yay!
Because if you all are impressed with Dr. Goodman, guess what? She said who she was learning how to upgrade from, and that's Dr. Michael Vincent. So again, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I'm going to pull on our next, before we introduce our next speaker, Gina, first of all, unmute your mic. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Gina, are you there?
Hi, Vera. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Lady. Dr. Vincent. So she's
Okay. Okay, good. Are you there? Leslie, are you still there?
Here.
Okay, so Leslie, we're gonna transform into our next speaker, but before we go to our next speaker, which is Gina, and she's gonna speak for about 15 minutes, and she has some great information. I call Gina my sister from another mother. But Leslie, Dr. Goodman just let some amazing cats out the bag. I know the ancestors came and visit you, and they tapped you on your shoulder, and a song is in your spirit. So again, I'm putting you on the spot, but that's where we operate best in our authenticity. I'm going to turn the mic over to you, in which you give us a moment of just something that's on your heart right now.
Okay. Lord, if I find favor in your sight, Lord, please hear my heart cry. I'm desperately waiting to be where you are. I crossed the hottest desert. I'll travel near or far for your glory. I will do anything just to see you, to behold you as my King. For your glory, I will do anything just to see you, to behold you as my King. I gotta be where you are. I wanna be where you are. I love to be where you are. I gotta be where you are for your glory.
Wow.
I will do anything just to see you, to behold you as my King. We gotta be where he is. We wanna be where you are. We love to be where you are. We have to be where you are. Amen. Amen.
Woo, for your glory, for your glory.
For your
I love it.
glory.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this moment to thank each and everyone under the sound of my voice. This is Vera Giles Norris. It's 2022, and we're wise women winning. And this is our summit. This too shall pass. I don't know where you're at in life right now. I don't know what's going on with you right now. But I stopped by with just a message that says just keep on holding on. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways, just trust your higher power. Just trust that it's someone that knows the plans for you, even when you don't know them for yourself. Our next speaker is, again, someone that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I call her my Jack of Hearts sister, my sister from another mother. Miss Gina, are you there, please? Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, where you come from, and what do you have to share with us today? The floor is yours, and you have 15 minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Vera. First and foremost, I'm very honored to be here. I'm so glad our paths crossed. And to the Dr. Goodman, first and foremost, you spoke to my whole soul. Everything you spoke was facts from what I do, and I've gone down that rabbit hole myself. And so I'm very honored to even be on this call with you because I was looking up the book and I took down so many notes. So you spoke to my soul. But my name is Gina Scorza. I am the owner and founder creator of Dope Minerals. It was just a mom and I'm not a doctor, but I experienced a lot of health issues early on. I was in a car accident, and before I ever had any children, and prior to my first pregnancy, with that car accident, I was prescribed a lot of meds to, deal with the pain and the aftermath. And then I ended up expecting my first child, and I won't take anything while I'm pregnant. And after I birthed her, and this is in my early 20s, I experienced severe postpartum depression, and so much so that they medicated me and I had to stop nursing her. And that was then a devastation in itself and put me down even a bigger, deeper spiral of depression. And then fast forward 8.5 years later, I was still dealing with a lot of pain issues. My body, reminiscence from those car accidents. And then I was expecting my second child. And I went right back into that space of being really worried about the postpartum because that was a big thing for me. A lot of women don't speak about that. And I do speak very candidly about it because I feel like if we don't, we're doing ourselves a disservice. But unfortunately, there's a lot of judgment when we don't feel good about being a mom, or we're experiencing an emotional breakdown and we're supposed to be this, loving mom. And yet there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of darkness in that space, and you kind of just have to move through it. And it's an unfortunate thing that gets swept under the rug a lot. So I do speak candidly about what I experienced with my first. The reason I was medicated is because I was visually seeing me drive myself into a wall with her in the car with me. And I knew that wasn't a good place to be in. And so I seeked help, but unfortunately it's just a prescription, right? And I went on to just kind of move through life and never really worked through all that. And then I was expecting my second one 8.5 years later, and I got real hyper aware of not wanting to be back in that space, especially after the baby was born. So anyways, just the natural body changes that happen when you're expecting, the growth, the pain, the shifting, the hormones. I was experiencing a lot of issues, the leg cramping, anxiety, insomnia, and I won't take anything. So, I just kind of dealt with it. And I remember someone saying you should take magnesium. And so I was taking it orally, but as I got further along in that pregnancy, the leg cramping was just god awful, that I wasn't sleeping. I would cry, I would kick. And I got to the point where it'd just be better to cut them off because I can't deal with this. And so I ended up going to an acupuncturist to kind of get help with other situations. And I was explaining this leg thing. And she said, you need magnesium. And I said, well, I'm taking that. And she said, well, you need it through your skin. And I looked at her like, what is that? And she had this oil that I was able to purchase. And I went home and I rubbed it on my legs. And that was the first night that I slept throughout the whole pregnancy. My legs didn't jump. I was able to rest and relax and deep sleep. And so I went on to rub this oil all over my body every day because I was starting to feel better. Like my mood, my anxiety, my sleep, everything, migraines, all the stuff I was dealing with the pregnancy already I had dealt with prior to the pregnancy just made it more intense. And so I went on to birth my daughter, and I was still using this oil, and I was like waiting for this postpartum to come back because I had been there before, and it never did. And I was like, this is something. And I started to do a lot of research, and magnesium is by far one of the most important minerals for our health. And a majority of us are walking around, like I believe the stats now are probably more than 70% of the population is deficient in this mineral. And unfortunately, our body does not produce it. We have to source it. And like the doctor said about this, when she said the plants and the farmers and they don't rotate, that is the biggest thing with even a plant-based person is our soil does not have the minerals that it did 100 years ago. Factory farming,
Yeah. You're so right.
Gina,
Sorry,
you muted.
Yeah, I got muted. So the factory farming, the pesticides, we're not remineralizing our soil. So even our plants are deficient. And then on top of it, the standard American diet is crap. So we're walking around deficient in a mineral that is relatively easy to get back into our body. And what I did was then I hated the way the oil felt on my skin. It would sting, it would itch. It's just a concentrated salt. And it would leave a white chalky film. I go to bed all gross, but I didn't care because my legs stopped jumping. And I didn't want to go back to work. This is the God's honest truth. I was in the hospitality industry. I ran restaurants. I ran hotels. I ran banquets. That was my life. And I knew I wanted to nurse this baby because I kind of got gypped the first one. And I was really adamant about that because I know the benefits and for both. And so I made it a way to where I could be home. And I started infusing herbs. You would thought I went to medical school with all the research. I went down the rabbit holes of health. I mean, it's a deep dive. And because you realize, like the doctor said, you've been lied to, like we've been lied to it's a scam. It's all a scam. So anyways, I didn't like the way the oil felt. And I knew I needed a way to if it did this much for me, I knew other women especially needed it. And so I took the oil and I made it into a cream, and it's all vegan and it's organic. It's mango butter, shea butter, and coconut oil, and it has pure magnesium chloride. So now you can apply this and it doesn't leave a white chalky film. It's actually really moisturizing for your skin. I started in farmers markets, and I've now expanded to where I'm retailed in little, like more acupuncturists, chiropractors, natural holistic healers, herbal shops. I then expanded even more, added CBD. It's a full spectrum CBD. So it's magnesium and CBD. I have it with and without. Then I realized like even our deodorant and our skincare is toxic. The breast cancer that the doctor spoke about, our deodorant that's a big part. You're actually, so if you clog the sweat pores, you're blocking the lymph. And so magnesium in a deodorant will actually help. You'll still kind of like, there's moisture, but it doesn't block it. It absorbs it. There's no aluminum, there's no baking soda. Like I'm very big about clean products. And I started this in my kitchen. And when a manufacturer was kind of on the table, I had to shut down at least 3 of them because they wanted to add other ingredients. There's no preservatives in my product. There's no chemicals in my products. I'm very big about that. My children use this. I use it. And I wanted other people to feel safe about using it. Even down to your skin, magnesium helps repair your skin in smaller amounts. There's research that shows that people live near the ocean, the combination of the salt water and the vitamin D, it's why they're happier, a lot of times healthier. We've been misled that the sun is bad for us. Then we slather our body with a toxic sunscreen that actually cooks that onto your body and absorbs into your skin. We absorb 70% of what we put on our skin. What's in your products? And it opened my eyes to everything, down to I threw out my microwave because I'm very well aware of what that does, especially if you stand in front and watch your food be nuked. You're standing in front of, not only are you eating it, but most of the time the microwave is right where you stand in front of it. So you're getting those radio, those microwave frequencies. I've gotten rid of so much stuff, all the products it does. So becoming a mom was enough for me, and experiencing my own like shift in health. I realized that so many women, especially magnesium, we burn through it faster. Women should not bleed for 7 days. You should not have heavy cramps. A lot of times your body, when it craves chocolate during your cycle, it's because your body is naturally craving magnesium. Dark chocolate has some of the highest forms of magnesium. It tastes good, so our body wants it. Your body's craving what it needs. We're just filling it with stuff that doesn't have any nutrient dense qualities, and we're deficient. We're walking around extremely deficient. A lot of our health issues can actually subside by just replacing our minerals. And like she said, the lack of oxygen is killing us. You know, I watch my daughter play basketball and I'm like, you have to learn how to breathe. You can't, you have to breathe. We don't breathe. Nobody breathes. I could go on. But anyways, that is what I did. It changed my whole life. I was a walking pharmacy for almost 10 years, from Xanax to painkillers, to muscle relaxers, to migraine meds, to sleeping pills. And when I got pregnant with my second daughter and I stopped taking all the pills, I've never gone back. I still deal with some pain issues, but I can rub my cream on my back and my legs and it subsides. I don't need something else. And it's taken me down even deeper, path of wanting to heal myself from the inside out. And ideally then my children being able to also heal, that generational stuff that we deal with. And so they have an opportunity to earlier, really understand their power and really walk in a much more vibrant frequency of health and healing, and not really trying to kind of pull yourself out of this hole that unfortunately this country, because it's poison for profit, we're poisoned for profit. And once you realize that, you want to kind of take yourself out of their profitable operation. And it does kind of lead you down a lot of rabbit hole paths, but it opens your eyes, and I can't knowingly poison my kids. I can't feed them the stuff that's, when you read the stuff and you see there's red 40 and yellow number 4, and you know what that does, I can't give it to them. And so you kind of are an outcast in that space because a majority of people walk in that space. So it is a feat, but I love that I can line up with people of the same accord in regards to taking back your health, and living a life that, you feel good about. And my products, I'm very grateful that I was able to share them with you. So I really appreciate this opportunity.
And you know what? We appreciate you for being here with us, Miss Gina. Thank you. So with that being said, Gina, again, thank you so much. I call you my sister from another mother. And we're going to just jump straight into our next speaker today. And I know that she's a little busy and she has some background issues. But Chief Kamala, are you there? Chief Kamala, are you able to hear me? If so, unmute yourself. And while we're waiting on you to unmute yourself, it's Vera Giles Norris. It's the 2022 Wise Women Winning Summit. And we're here today just to let someone know that this too shall pass. Chief Kamala, are you there? The floor is yours. Tell us, who are you? Where did you come from? And what can you share with us today? Go ahead. The floor is yours, Chief Kamala.
Thank you so much. And I thank you so much for the invitation. I am so excited about this. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. So let me just introduce who I am. Originally by lineage, I am Carla Renee Folsom. Folsom of the original Folsom people here on the North American continent. We've been on this landmass for over 13,000 years. Much history goes into the story of the Folsom people all across the lands, the indigenous people, these meaning the copper-colored people of the land. A lot of times the history has been skewed to make people think that the people who were here were not indigenous, but brought from another landmass, from an African continent. There may have been some, but nowhere near the amount that is perpetrated amongst the people. So in doing some research into both sides of my family, I realized at a very young age, my paternal grandfather said to me, "You are Blackfeet." I didn't know what that meant. I was about 4 or 5. I looked down at my feet, and of course they weren't black, so I started laughing. And then I looked up at my grandfather, whom I called Papa, and I saw the look on his face, and I never forgot that look on his face because that history goes back so far. The Indians, the American Indians, using that term euphemistically because we were called something other than Indians. That was a title that was given to us. So because it is within the treaties and the various constitutions, state and U.S. constitutions, I embrace the title, knowing that it's a euphemism. So I would like to say that when my grandfather told me I was Blackfeet, and my grandmother, his wife, my grandparents, said baby Cherokee, I didn't know what either of those meant. So I did some research into finding out what it was. And as it turns out, those were tribal names. And those were some euphemisms also. There were other titles that actually went into the people known by those titles. And we've been here all across the landmass and into South America. Now, I am currently, after doing some research into that Folsom name and title, found out that several of the people in my family that I didn't even know existed until I went to school in Atlanta, Georgia, and went to a family reunion, that there was a whole host of Folsoms in the Wrightsville, Atlanta area. And I always thought I should have been a Georgia peach anyway, if my grandparents had been, stationary. So here's the thing. I've always been much of a humanitarian and nurturer. So in that vein, I've wanted to do law as long as I can remember. I remember when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, was president of the student council. And I always wanted to be a judge, but I never wanted to be an attorney. I always felt in that young age that a judge would have to be fair, because I had seen some unfairness growing up. And I went to a school in New York, starting school in New York, where there were only 2 other melanated children, meaning dark complected children, in my classroom. So from that, I was ridiculed, even when I had the right answers, the right concepts, and was able to articulate, even at an early age, things that I knew to be true that I was being taught were false. And that was some of my initial learning. So for that reason, I had set out to try to give the information to the people who looked like me, who needed the information, such that they would stop referring to themselves as the euphemisms that the colonizers had been putting on them, as Black, Negro, African American, colored, all those euphemistic names that would denigrate to an insubordinate position, a subordinated position, and that a less than position. So for that reason, I continually step forward, and I'm trying very hard now to empower our women to know that you are the leaders. And even though you may be put in a denigrating type situation or appearance in media and that sort of venue, that's not you. That is not your portion. You are the goddesses. You are the queens. You are the royalty of which everyone else aspires. But you have to put yourself in a place of competence to know that you know what you know, and then move forward from there. Moving forward in power and integrity. Right now, the little pup that I'm babysitting for is quiet. So hopefully he will continue to be. And I'm going to go forward just a little more. Now, I joined the League of Indian Nations of North America about 4 years ago. During that time, I was continually studying and studying with a Chief Justice, and such that he, as he was teaching me and empowering me, and we were learning, and I was learning and passing on information that I had learned, he said, you know what, I am so proud to have you as my first Chief Associate Justice, the first woman Chief Associate Justice of the Tribal Circuit Systems, and for the League of Indian Nations of North American National Government. I also am supported heavily by the Alabama Kiowa Nation. And in that support, I have learned a great deal. And I have been in a position where the chiefs there have taken me under their wing as well and taught me a lot of information, and even small things and this is what fascinated me, was when I was in Tuskegee, Alabama, and you hear about I heard about the Tuskegee Airmen. I knew about the Tuskegee Airmen experience, but I was taught about the Tuskegee experiment experience that I had no knowledge of. I did vague, actually, very vague. And there was so much information that they've imparted to me. I'm in love with Alabama Ketawa. I just want to let you know that. There are many, many nations that fall within the League of Indian Nations of North America. That's very important to me, to let our people know that just because someone said to you, just because someone said you have Indian blood in you doesn't mean you're Indian. Let me make this statement. There was a vital statistics, I forgot what his position was, statistician in Virginia by the name of Walter Plecker. Walter Plecker is the person who had determined that the term Indian would no longer be able to be put on birth certificates. So that now you don't see Indian on birth certificates, but it's the copper colored people that were already here, that were always here. That's what I make a point of giving information, so that you know you have power in that status. That is a status. Every time you refer to yourself as Negro, Black, African American, colored, all of those that are not a status. Negro was. The others, African American and so forth, are not. There is no Black in law. That is dead. Every time you refer to yourself as a Black American or Black or African American, how can you combine two continents? You don't hear anybody else combining two continents and saying that's their citizenship or lineage or status, anything like that. So what you want to, do some research on is to find out who you are, who your people are, and not by the DNA, ancestry DNA. Unless you know for a fact who's making the determination, who's getting the information, and who's doing the testing of the ancestry DNA. And that's just an example. I have nothing against ancestry. That was just the one that came first from my mind. But those types of DNA, you actually need to do your genealogy, your lineage. And you can start by gathering up the birth certificates, death certificates, marriage records, military records, obituary folders. A lot of information is maintained in the obituary folders as to the places where people were born, how many brothers and sisters they had, where they were in the family sometimes, who their relatives are, and start with that. Start with those areas, get that information. Additionally, I know my time is running here. Additionally, in making the status and appointment, I became a chief associate judge after having become a chief. And we had a naming ceremony. The League of Indian Nations of North America had a naming ceremony in Highland Park, Michigan, a little over a year, maybe almost 2 years ago, where we were named by a clan mother, queen mother, Dr. Oshandara Ajamu Nefertiti El, who had received her accolades and appointments by traveling the world, Ghana, Nigeria, the Caribbean, all over the continents, and in South America and the world, actually. So our titles were very well thought out. So that title that I was given, Smiling Thunder, during our naming ceremony, when she called out mine and I stood next to her and she said Smiling Thunder, I thought that was so appropriate. I loved it and everybody understood it because I'm pretty much always smiling. And then when she said thunder, you could see in the crowd, there were question marks. I looked over there was a dignitary from Ghana, Baba Henry, I forgot his last name, I apologize. anyway, and there were the little question marks the imaginary question marks you could see over his head, and you'd wonder why thunder. And so Queen Mother turned and looked, and she said, "Why thunder? Have you ever seen her in court?" And then everybody understood. So I'm just saying that to say, yes. So after I have been appointed, it was like the most, I don't know, it just gave me the most joy. I was so jubilant to be able to go into a court in another state, in Pennsylvania, actually, and get one of my member nationals from the clutches of the jurisdiction there, because they don't have jurisdiction over the Indians. They know that, but unless it is brought to their attention, yes, they're going to take you just like you were an American citizen. So I've had to do that in a couple different states. So in Michigan and Oklahoma, we're making it known across this country that the American Indian didn't die off, that we're still here, and that more people are waking up and finding out information. I am Chief Smiling Thunder of the League of Indian Nations of North America, with support from the Alabama Kiowa Nation, extreme support. And I can be reached at chiefsmilingthunder.mi@gmail.com. Again, that's chiefsmilingthunder.mi@gmail.com.
Wow. Amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. There's so much more I want to say, so I'll just yield for right now. I thank you so much for the invitation.
Chief Kamala, as a matter of fact, as you were speaking, I think my dreadlocks got longer as you were speaking. I feel like that's just information that we all need to know. I'm excited to have you. I know you are a force to be reckoned with. Don't mess with Chief Kamala. That's all I say. If you didn't know, you're gonna learn today. But humbly speaking, again, thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to hear more from you on tomorrow. And if you can repeat your email address again, please.
More than happy. Chief, CHIEF, Smiling, SMILING, Thunder, THUNDER, .mi@gmail.com.
Thank you. Thank you. And let's see if we're going to switch a little bit. I know this is Wise Women Winning, and it's our 2022 summit with This Too Shall Pass. But we have a special guest here today, and I'm expecting two. I'm going to let two men speak today. One, Dr. Michael Vincent, and the other one is Les Brown, if he happens to grace us with his presence today. But I believe that we have the amazing, the one and the only, that I will go into your long bone and tell you what your great-great-great-grandmama did. I will have pain gone in moments. Mr. One Tap Wonder, Mr. I am constantly getting downloads from the Most High God. Do we have Dr. Michael Vincent on this platform with us right now?
Yes, we do. Vera, that was an amazing introduction. I am Dr. Vincent. I'm character by trade, and I'm creating the world's epigenetics wellness platform. I've been offered a network.
Dr. Vincent,
2.8.
It sounds like you're in the matrix a little bit. Is it my line? I think it sounds like you're in the matrix.
Let me move around. I'm in the car. What was it now?
Try talking again. Keep talking. Now? Yeah, it's better now. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. If you're talking, we couldn't hear nothing. So try it again. No. Well, I guess that means that. Okay. So with that, while we give Dr. Michael Vincent, he's always moving and shaking. I'm not surprised that we can't keep up with Dr. Michael Vincent, because he's one that has such a connection with the Most High God that he's probably vibrating in Mars somewhere right now. He may be in Venus. Who knows where he's vibrating at? But I'm gonna go ahead and flip it and turn it over to Darlene. Darlene, the founder of the Bow company, Bow Inc. Are you there, Darlene? If you're speaking, you're on mute, and I'm not able to hear you. So, Darlene, are you there? Okay, no worries. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Darlene and what's about to take place. We've started a collaboration, whereas we will have the Bow effect, and that's where we'll come to different states, cities, states, and countries, and we're going to take women out on a 8-hour daycation. And during that daycation, you'll have the time of your life. We will have bus rides. We will have powerful speakers like the speakers you heard today. We will do shopping. We will even hug trees. We'll go out into a field just to give you a chance to scream and cry. And we're going to collaborate with a lot of other amazing people. But I see Dr. Vincent is back with us. Dr. Vincent, are you there? If you're speaking, Dr. Vincent, you're on mute, and I can't hear you. Okay, so I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a breather and give Dr. Vincent a chance to come back on. But if there's anyone that has questions, if you would raise your hand, I would like to take some questions at this time. And the contact, someone just asked for the contact information from, go ahead. Okay, Mary, go ahead and unmute yourself. You wanted the contact information for Gina. So Gina, if you can come off and give your contact information again, please.
Sure. Hi. My website is dopeminerals.com. I'll put it in the chat as well. That is my website for all my products. You can also email me at dopeminerals.com, or I'm sorry, dopeminerals@gmail.com. If you had any questions about the products or if you needed any more information, but I just put my website in the chat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. And with that being said, we got Dr. Michael Vincent is back on the platform with us. Dr. Michael Vincent, can you hear me okay? If you're speaking, you need to take your phone off of mute because we're not able to hear you, Dr. Vincent. Okay, now while we're waiting for Dr. Vincent, is there anyone else that has questions? If so, go ahead and unmute yourself, raise your hand, do whatever you do so that we can have your questions answered if there's anyone with questions. Okay, don't seem like we have any questions. If it's anyone there that did not get a chance to introduce yourself, I see we have some new people that came in. And if you didn't get a chance to introduce yourself, go ahead and introduce yourself. I see we have Dr. Wilgar that's on with us. I'm not sure if I heard from you today, but if there's anyone that has not had a chance to introduce yourself, please go ahead and do so, and with your city, state, and country. Okay, Dr. Michael Vincent, I see you're back on and you're on mute. If you're able to unmute yourself and speak, I can turn the floor back over to you, sir.
Okay, great. I'm gonna pull over. I just got my future pro basketball, my grandson, pick them up over a minute. I can speak for a couple of minutes.
Go
I'm
ahead,
Dr.
Dr.
Michael
Vincent.
Vincent. I'm a chiropractor. Okay, great. I'm Dr. Michael Vincent. I'm a chiropractor from Flint, Michigan, and I created a program called Epigenetics Wellness Coaches, the first platform on the planet, and we've been invited to have our own network that goes to the 2.8 billion households. On August 20th, they threw us a breakout party in Atlanta. People like Janet Jackson may show up, Tyler Perry may show up.
Okay, did Dr. Vincent is, I think you're cut out, Dr. Michael Vincent, because I don't hear you. And I'm not even sure if I see you. Okay. So I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to also finish off on Clubhouse tomorrow. We will be on Clubhouse at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on tomorrow. If you thought the speakers was good today, well, guess what? You're going to get these speakers again, but we've added some amazing speakers onto this platform, and they'll be on tomorrow on Clubhouse. It's under Wise Women Winning. I'm going to put the link. I'm sorry. It's under the Cats Out Show on Clubhouse. I'm going to put the link to Clubhouse right here in the chats. Again, if there's anyone who has any questions, if you got comments, if you got any concerns, this is your time to go ahead, unmute yourself. Tell us where you're where you're tuning in from, and ask your question, make your statement, or whatever your concern is. This is a time for you to do that, if there's anyone. Okay, so with that being said, I am going to put the Cats Out Show in the chats, and be sure to join us tomorrow at 1 Central Standard Time on Clubhouse. It's the Wise Women Winning 2022 Summit. I am Vera Giles Norris, and our title for today is This Too Shall Pass. So for those of you all that's here, again, I am going to put the link.
Vera?
Yes. I'm here.
I
Can you
have
hear me?
Dr. Vincent. Yes, I have Dr. Vincent on the phone. I'm going to see if he can pull over in 30 seconds, but I think I can hear him well on my cell phone. Can you talk, Dr. Vincent, and see if they can hear you?
I can hear you, Dr. Vincent.
Okay. I need to pull over. For some reason, this neighborhood, the reception is horrible. And it's a nice neighborhood. Can anybody hear me now?
Yes, Dr. Vincent, we hear you. Go ahead and tell us who you are, where you come from, and what do you do for all of these amazing people, Dr. Vincent?
From the place at Michigan, that's become well known. I created a program called the Epigenetics Wellness Coaching Program. Since creating that program, I've been invited to own my own network that goes to 2.8 billion households, with a B, households. And on August 20th, they're going to throw me a breakout party with my students and other practitioners who will be teaching classes on the I'm going to teach a class on the network for diabetic neuropathy. On the network, they go to 2.8 billion households to show people with pain in the legs and feet, show people with amputated because of no fillings down there, how they can reverse that for $1.44. I'll make it cheap, $1.44. I'm excited because why? When you go above the genes, epigenetics above the genes, we went above the genes, Vera, and you heard the testimony of the lady that was blind rest of her life, blind for 5 years, would never ever see again, no optic nerve controls vision, blind for 5 years, had a brain cancer, we moved the optic nerve, you would never see again. We went above the genes, epigenetics, and we're seeing in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes. And you heard the testimony of Joanna with her diabetes. The worst I've ever seen. A1C 18.2, blood sugar 400 to 600 every day for 6.5 years, never go below 400, taking 2 metformin, diabetes is not from you, it's from the memory in your long bone. If you didn't the gene, then overnight become 9. So Vera, I have fun, Vera. I'm excited to have Dr. Goodman on my team, Chief Kamala on my team, you're on my team. I'm excited to have my own platform coming out where we can help people around the world get rid of any pain, Vera, for $5. For $5. I don't like their shoulders for $5. People know how to get rid of fiber tumors for $5. Diabetes for $5. COVID-19 for $5. I'm excited, Vera. And my grandson here listening, he thinks granddad's a chiropractor. Vera, a chiropractor.
Well, you know what, Dr. Vincent, I'm laughing because if you're going to be in 2.5 billion households from that network, then I can only imagine, because it's only about 8 billion people in the world. Well, Dr. Vincent, this platform, the Cats Out Show, is going to easily touch 4 billion people, easily. So I am convinced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Dr. Vincent, that you're going to touch everyone in the world. And you know what? If anyone should touch people, if anyone was qualified to make a difference in people's lives, Dr. Vincent, it is definitely you. And I am honored, Dr. Vincent, to call you my teacher, to call you my coach, and to call you my friend.
And I'm honored to be invited on the stage with you, Vera. On stage we got Dr. Goodman and Chief Kamala. Oh my gosh. My grandson has no idea who you women are, who you women. Oh my.
Well, I hope he tunes into Clubhouse on tomorrow, because we have an amazing lineup on tomorrow, and some speakers that couldn't make it today, but they're going to join us on Clubhouse, and it's going to be great. And again, this broadcast is going to be shared on several different platforms. It's going to be shared with several different other influencers. I am convinced, beyond a shadow of a doubt, just like the word said, if you lift me, I will draw all.
Hey.
We're lifted for such a time and for such a season as this. With that being said, we're almost at that hour. We're a little bit over the hour. We're going to close out with our song. If we have Leslie on, if we can close out, because we don't want to go over time. We're a little bit over, but not that much over. But Leslie, if you're there and you can close us out with our theme song, we would love to hear from you right now.
Amen. Amen.
And let me say this before you start. It's the Wise Women Winning. If you want more information about Wise Women Winning, you can go to wisewomenwinning.com. This is our 2022 summit. Our theme this year is "This Too Shall Pass."
Amen.
All right.
I am bold, beautiful, and powerful. I'm a woman who's inspired by God's grace. Take a look at my face, and here's my story. No more, no more, no more, no more worrying, no more, no more pain, no more worrying. Amen. No more, no more.
No more.
Amen.
And with that being said, I would like to thank you, and you.
Amen.
I don't know where you're tuning in from, but this is the day that the Lord has made. Go ahead, be glad, and rejoice in it. It's official. It's the Cats Out Show. We've just let the cat out the bag, and I've done it like only Vera Giles Norris could. like only Vera Giles Norris would. And somebody, somewhere, I heard you all say, meow. The cat's out the bag, ladies and gentlemen. And this show is officially over. Thank you.